Hello and welcome. Now we're going to put all the information that we've learned at a couple of sessions preceding this. We're going to put it together and create our own first report. So this is where I'm just going to review with you the cheat sheet. I'm going to build it, and then you're going to take the notes that you have on the link next to this, the report builder sessions on www.learnitcoursesonline.com, www.learnitcoursesonline.com. You're going to go there, follow that link. So it's a little nice cheat sheet that's going to help us through it, but we're going to look at what the requirements are. We're going to build this together, review what's in the cheat sheet, and wherever you work or different projects that you have, you might be able to access this and use it as well or reference parts of it. So what's required from us right now is to create a report that would allow the airline customer to view, number one, the airlines. So we're going to have a report. They're going to have a couple of drop downs. The first one is going to be on the airlines, and they should be able to select whatever airlines they wish, one or multiple or all. The second thing that we're going to have on this report is a flight date range. So there's going to be me searching flights or the customer searching flights between Monday and Wednesday, for example, or June 1st and June 7th, whatever date range they would like to have. The third thing is by default, there should be a date range. So before they even select it, it should populate some data. And then from there, they can go in and change that range. But by default, it should be the next day. So if I log in today, August 11th, then it should have August 12th, and then 4 days to the future from that, plus 4 from whatever the date that they're querying is. And then finally, the date format should be in this format, where it should show the month, the date, the year, and then the time, and whether it's AM or PM. This is the exact format that we would like to have in our report. If you're using one of our virtual machines, if when you signed up, you signed for a VM, that table is already created, so you'll be able to move forward. But if you're running it from your own SQL Server machine, then here's the script, and it's included within the little cheat sheet that you have, or the notes that you have, how we can go in and do that. So I'm just going to review it together. The first thing is the script to create the table. Again, it's in the VM. It's already created within the database Learn IT Courses Online DB. But if you don't have it, you'll just need to run the script to create the table. So since we already have it, I'm going to go in, drop that table, and recreate it. Okay, so now I know I have the table, but there's no data in there. Next, you're going to have a lot of insert statements, and that's basically what goes in there and inserts the data about the different airlines that we have. So I'm just going to go in, highlight all of the insert statements, and execute it. So that should load quite a bit of data, quite a few rows in there. So let's go ahead and do a select statement just to make sure that we do access that table and we do have data in it. And absolutely, yes, we do have it for different airlines, different dates, and it's in there. Great. So our select statement, again, that we've created earlier, that works. However, we did not want this flight date. Remember, we had different formats of dates, and this is also in our cheat sheet. So if you scroll down through the cheat sheet, you'll see the different date formats. You can run it, and then from there, you could see which one matches what we want. And the seventh one, the seventh column is what we need, and so we can move that into our select statement, which is what we did in here. So instead of just a normal select statement with the column names, when it came to flight date, we used it, incorporated the function that we have, and then put the title or the heading as flight date so that it shows it in the format that we're looking for. So let's go ahead and run it, and now it's going to have the format that we're looking for. So we've resolved the issue with the format. Now we have month / date / year, hour, minute, seconds, whether it's AM or PM. Great, we've got that part done. Now we want to go into the different parameters that we have. We're using two parameters. The first one is the airline. Since they are not selecting one airline, we cannot use equal to. We have to use the in. So in this case, we're using the in clause so that way they could select more than one airline. Great. The second thing is flight date. Again, we're using a range. In earlier example, you used the greater than equal to. In this case, we're using the between, and then at start date, between at start date and at end date. So that's the parameter. So the first one becomes the flight date initial value, and the second one becomes the flight date final value. And that's the range of dates that that person is going to select. Now, if you remember, so this is going to be my first data set, or the first query that I have, but then I need another query so that I can select specific airlines. So this is the one that gets me the specific airlines. If it's repeated in my table, I just want to get the specific ones. I don't need 3 or 4 air. Awesome, I just need the distinct ones. So I'm not selecting all the airlines, I'm selecting distinct airline. The column heading is going to be airline. And then I want to order by airline, so it comes in alphabetical order. If you remember, then after that was we needed a function for the default values. When we selected a date, we wanted to have a default value for the date. So this is what allows us to have the start date, which is going to be +1, because that's the requirement they're looking for. The date range for the tickets that they're going to get, or the reservations they're going to make, are flights by default that are the next day through 4 days in the future. So it's date add, double quotes, D for date, add 1 to that, and then the second case is add 4, and then today, whatever today's date is, that will be my start, +4 will be my end date. Okay. So now that we have all this together, let's go ahead and build a report together using the different shortcuts that we have in our cheat sheet. So we're building our report, create a data set. We're creating a new data source. We're going to call our data source Learn IT Courses. We're going to build our connection string, the server name. Again, we do have that. We could either take it from the server name, or we do have it on our script, the database server name in this case. In your case, it could be whatever the server name is that you're using. Next is the database name. Since we're connected, I could just do a drop down. Don't have to type it. Click OK. And now we're going to click OK. We're going to go next. Edit as, so we can put our select statement in there. We're going to go back to SQL Server. We want the one that has both parameters in there. Okay. Let's throw that in here. Next. Drag and drop. Next. Next. Finish. Okay. Now let's make sure we have the other data set for the dropdown. So the first data set is data set 1. But then we want to add another data set for our dropdown. So let's go ahead and choose the data source. Now it's going to ask us for the query. This is where we're getting the airline parameter from SQL Server. Let's go back here, paste it. And just to remember the data set, we're going to call this data set, and it's for a parameter. So parameter airline. Click OK. This is the one that selects the airline. So now let's go to our parameter airline and make sure that it gets its data from there. So available values from a query. Which data set? The parameter airline data set. Which field value? Airline, label, airline, click OK. And we also want to make sure we select allow blank values and allow multiple values. Click OK. We're done with that one. Now we have a couple of things we do with our date. Parameters. Remember, the date is a text, but we want it to have that drop-down calendar, so we're going to change it to date time, and then we need a default value because this is the start date. We don't have a query, but we have that function that we're going to enter, so specify a value, add. Now we need to go back and get this, +1. Click OK. Now we need to do the same thing with the second one. parameter, make sure it's a date time, default value, specify, add, and we said +4. Click OK. Let's go ahead and run it. So now I should be able to drop down and select one or more of the airlines, and it's all ordered alphabetically. Let's choose Air Awesome. The moment I click on this, this should populate. If today's the 11th, it should show the 12th, and then 4 days from there. So let's go ahead and select this. Sure enough, the 12th through the 15th. So let's hit enter. And here's our output. Mission accomplished. So go ahead and run that, and you do have that cheat sheet with you. So good luck with it, and get ready for the next one.